Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. If you're watching this video and it's Salah time, please pause it and go pray and come back when you're done. Please check out the description section of this video to support the channel. I was sent a segment of a debate between Tucker Carlson and Piers Morgan in Saudi Arabia, where they covered the topic of Israel and Palestine. We're told there's currently a ceasefire, however all I hear about amidst the release of hostages is Israel breaching the ceasefire in Gaza and slyly carrying out more treachery and harming civilians in the West Bank. Tucker Carlson is an American conservative. However, unlike many of his fellow conservatives, such as Shawl Ben Shapiro, Tucker doesn't hold the hypocritical stance of opposing US funding to Ukraine to appear to put American interests first, while at the same time championing the US hemorrhaging billions of dollars away to Israel while American citizens suffer as a result, like Ben does. Tucker seems to be consistent across the board and doesn't want America to fund any begging money-hungry warmongers around the world. Let's look at the first clip.
Why do you support Israel against Hamas, for example? Why do you support America giving them billions of dollars?
Well, I don't. I believe that the United States, like every country, should, to the extent that it can, act on behalf of its own people and their perceived interests. We can debate what those interests are.
But that doesn't apply in Israel. America's supporting Israel because it's an ally. When Israel wants to attack in Gaza, America will help it because it's its ally.
That's not what it means.
So it gives it billions of dollars worth
to be an ally. Okay.
Well, fundamentally,
I have no greater allies than my own children. When they come to me and say, I want to do this, I assess whether it's good for them or not. And if I don't think it is, I don't support it. Is Netanyahu a dictator?
Actually, I don't like Netanyahu. I think you should. I think
you hate Israel.
I think you should go. Explain what is America's national interest in Israel?
If I've been a great advocate for the war in Gaza, I missed that part of the conversation.
Well, you support America supporting Israel. You don't support America supporting Ukraine.
No, I don't support America supporting any nation on the planet to its own detriment. Every element of our foreign policy should serve the United States.
Okay.
So if I'm in charge of a country and I decide, actually, I should do this because people who pay me want me to do it, or I'm making money to do it, then I'm by definition illegitimate. That's not democracy. Our leaders should act on behalf of their own people, or what they think is their own people's interests. And I would apply that to Israel. I'd apply it to Ukraine.
Firstly, I'm not sure why Piers automatically assumed Tucker Carlson supported Israel, unless Tucker has expressed his opinion in the past. I agree with Tucker's stance of not supporting the US funding Israel, and his statement that any bought and paid for politicians who are for funneling American money to the Israeli government are corrupt individuals. Tucker Carlson debunked Piers Morgan's claim that America is obliged to support Israel because they are an ally, by saying just because someone is an ally, it doesn't mean you should blindly side with them in their negative behaviour and bad decisions. I'll give Piers Morgan a point for not supporting Netanyahu. However, as you will see in the next clip, Morgan exposes his own dark mindset when he admits he sees nothing wrong with innocent non-combatant civilians, women and children being harmed as collateral damage during a war, which Tucker quite rightly is opposed to.
If you're intentionally killing civilians, you probably shouldn't beat your chest and brag about it. You know, maybe you could make the
I agree with that.
Maybe you make the case that we had to do it or whatever, but you should.
I agree.
You should weep, and that's evil, and you should just say it's evil. And I know it's really threatening to.
Is it evil, though?
Ben Shapiro to say that or whatever, but
is it evil
to kill civilians on purpose? Yeah, it is. I think it is.
Really?
Kids and children. Well, how is it not actually?
In a war?
Well, you can call it whatever you want. How is it right to kill women and children?
I didn't say, well, because I think there is a moral right behind you if you are literally
to kill women and children.
Really? If there's a world war that threatens if it threatens the entire world. Yes.
Some people killed your kids, like your 8-year-old. Like,
well,
how
your
is
own
that
children,
morally justifiable?
Well, because actually you have to. Well, by your criteria,
it's disgusting. Look, it's all ugly. It's all hard to stomach. I've actually seen some of it up close. It's super ugly.
You can say that. You can say you hate it.
May I finish?
The fact you quibble with it being morally justified.
To intentionally kill non-combatants, women and children, I think we can say that's wrong. In fact, I thought that was the thing we were fighting against.
So Israel's dropping American bombs on Gaza, killing lots of children.
I hate the fact that civilians are killed with American weapons. I hate it. I hate it in Ukraine. I hate it in Gaza. I hate it in the occupied territories, whatever we're calling them these days.
Once again, I agree with Tucker Carlson. Nothing justifies the absolute evil of killing innocent civilians, especially children, no matter how moral anyone feels their war is. Tucker was right to call out disgusting Zionist Ben Shapiro, who is a prime example of this type of mindset. Ben Shapiro, without a shred of remorse, has continuously advocated for the killing of Palestinian kids by pushing Israeli propaganda buzzwords like collateral damage and human shields, and has bent over backwards to cover up their horrific war crimes against civilians using his platform. And speaking of disgusting, how could Piers Morgan Morgan even question if killing women and children is evil or not? What does that say about his moral character? If your first thought at hearing about the death of innocent people, especially children, is not a deep concern, grief, or revulsion, then there's something seriously mentally wrong with you. Tucker was spot on. It doesn't matter if it's a war or whatever situation it is. You're killing a fellow human being. There is no justification for this, political or otherwise. I've heard Piers Morgan say some absolutely crazy things over the last couple of years, but hearing him trying to justify children dying as somehow being moral is probably the worst thing he has ever said. Tucker even tried to humanize it for Piers by asking how he would feel if these kids were his family members, and this is where the problem lies. People are seeing death tolls as just numbers, or they are ignorantly believing the dehumanizing propaganda, or worse of all, their ingrained prejudice makes them align with this oppression due to their hatred, making them lack empathy for the Palestinian people because they are brown and because they are Muslim. Let's look at the last clip where Tucker Carlson speaks about the Christian Palestinians who are being eliminated in Gaza and the West Bank, and why Christians who support this Zionist oppression of their own people are hypocrites.
I really think that we need a much more honest conversation about our relationship with Israel. I would very much appreciate an environment in the United States where Americans could speak openly about what their money is doing in a bunch of different foreign countries, including that one. If you're in a fight with your neighbors, it's up to you to resolve it. It's not my problem. I do not have to resolve your disputes with your neighbors. And that is true of Ukraine, and it's true of Israel.
But it's also an American problem because American military is being used.
I'll just be honest, since you're pushing me on this, that makes me a little bit emotional, is there are a lot of Christian Arabs, and a lot of them have been killed or mistreated with American money and weapons, and I think it's disgusting. And I think it's especially disgusting that Christian leaders in the United States have said nothing because they're bullied and bought off. And I think they should feel shame, and because they've dodged their duty, which is to speak up on behalf of their brothers in Christ. And they haven't. And there are Christians in Gaza who are killed. It's not a political question. It's not, do you hate Israel? It's like, I don't hate Israel. Anybody who murders Christians, defenseless Christians, I'm opposed to that. And we should just say that. That's not controversial. It should not be controversial. And it just shows how totally afraid and lacking self-confidence Christians are to just say, like, I'm sorry, I'm not like attacking me, but I'm opposed to that. You can't use my money to kill Christians, blow up a church. No. Or to storm the Church of the Nativity. That's my religion. No. You don't get $1 if you do that. And by the way, we're not giving you any money until you promise to treat Christians as equals. You know what I mean? That's how I personally feel, and I think all Christians should feel that way. It's not attacking anybody. It's just a baseline demand of like dignity and respect, and they don't get it.
Again, I agree with Tucker. Israel should have no influence over American politics or the US economy, and any conflicts Israel is involved in should be dealt with by them solely, without dragging others into the trouble they themselves cause. Let's be realistic. If Israel didn't have billions in funding and weapons from the US, they would be more open to peaceful solutions and compromise, rather than ethnic cleansing, genocide, and illegal theft of land. The way Tucker Carlson feels about Christian Palestinians being killed is how Muslims feel about fellow Muslims facing the same fate over there. The way Tucker Carlson feels about churches being destroyed in Gaza and the West Bank is how we feel about the same thing happening to mosques. Anybody who calls themselves a Christian or even a Muslim and supports the evil objectives and ambitions of the Zionist state of Israel and Palestine is a sellout to their own people and their religion. Tucker correctly called out puppet US politicians who fall into that exact category, and for me that includes current American President Donald Trump, because just like Joe Biden, he is also funding and doing the bidding of Israel. Like Tucker said, Christians and Muslims do not get basic dignity or respect in Palestine or in Israel because of the Zionist supremacist apartheid system in place that is designed to oppress these groups in both these regions. I also don't hold much hope for this so-called ceasefire. I think Israel will do what they have always done, and that is to continue to steal land, continue to indiscriminately eliminate civilians, and continue to exert their influence over America so that the money keeps flowing to fund their evil. Thank you for watching. Make sure to join my free Telegram group via the link in the description, where we as Muslims can speak freely and without censorship about issues like this. And remember to like, subscribe, and become a channel member for access to exclusive content. Until next time, inshallah, Jazakallah khair.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allah.